Hello and welcome back to the Spin the Rock podcast. I'm your host Angel, and with me today are my co-hosts.
Eugene.
And Vaughn.
All right, all three of us back again. We took that long break after celebrating 100, and then we came back with just me and Vaughn, and then we took another break last week, and now we're finally all here. Eugene went on side quests. I honestly just kind of kept counseling too as well when it was just me and Vaughn. We were supposed to meet, but we're finally back. Finals is underway. We have a lot of news. Well, not a lot of news, but some pretty big news. First up, Tibbs has finally been fired as New York Knicks head coach, and it was after their best playoff run they've had in years. How do y'all feel about this decision? Yeah.
I feel like it just goes to show like how the Knicks operate. You know what I mean? This is the furthest, like you just said, this is the furthest they've been in literal years, and they still fired, probably their best coach that they had in recent seasons. So it's like, what are the Knicks looking for in a coach? Like what are they expecting? What are they expecting in a coach? Just like period. Because it's like he made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Sure, it wasn't a finals run, but close enough. You know what I mean?
I've been saying it, like, if they want a championship coach, Tibbs wasn't going to bring them there. And this was probably the furthest he was ever going to bring them there. I can't guarantee, like, the replacement, had they even fired him sooner, would have brought him this far. Or, like, maybe they'd be in the finals right now. I don't know. But, like, we do know this is probably the ceiling for Coach Thibodeau. Um, Now, the rumor is they want to interview Jason Kidd to
Oh,
potentially see if they could, get that. And I don't even know if that would be the solution for them either. So the Knicks seem like in flux right now, despite having like a success, like them reaching the Eastern Conference Finals, beating the former champs. Like this is pretty much a successful season, I would say. But it really seems like they want to, shake things up quite a bit. Even like the rumors about Giannis being traded to New York, like I think this is pretty crazy. Like this would involve tearing down this team if they want to do that. And I feel like we've seen it too many times. You tear down a team for a superstar, you're not going to make it further than you did the last time. So I really do hope they stick with this core and the new coach, comes through. But at least that part I find exciting. But also at the same time, if I was a Knicks fan, I would be scared.
yeah, bro. Well, I have a lot of mixed feelings because I kind of been team fire Tibbs for a while now, but I do think it is crazy that they fired him this season. Like you should have fired him like 2 seasons ago, bro. Like it's kind of crazy that they just now decided to do it after they had their not only their best season they've had in years, but also like it kind of seemed like they had a game plan, and it just like he just kind of threw it out the window against the Pacers, and he went right back to like only playing the stars and not using the bench at all. So I feel like it would have just been a good learning moment for the Knicks, and they could have came back, and then maybe if they fell short, then fire him. But to, I don't know. I do think he should have been fired, but to do it this year of all years is crazy. Like it just goes to show that I feel like none of these execs know what they're doing.
Mm.
It's
And that's what I mean. I'm like the Knicks haven't known what they were doing forever,
Yeah,
but like they're firing good coaches, they're firing bad coaches, and it's like, you're not going to make it to the finals every year, point blank, period. But it's like maybe they had some sort of agreement, like if you can't get to the finals and within your contract, then you're out of here. So I don't know, but
yeah,
it. I think the Knicks just have a big question mark right now.
I agree. Yeah. Um, the players seem in high hopes though. um, going to the club together and the infamous Finals 2026 that sign they had. So I think it's good to see that the team is really locked in. It's just like who is going to take them to that next level. I'm not really sure Jason Kidd is going to be that guy. But honestly, you never know. All right, moving on. We had a rebrand recently. It's been a while since we had a rebrand. I don't remember who the last team was, but it has been a fat moment.
I've been the
Um,
Jazz with like their
oh
practice
yeah,
looking jerseys.
yeah. And then they went back, and then they rebranded again. So you're right. It has just been the Jazz. The Magic came out with new logos, new uniforms. What do you guys think about them? How do you feel about this rebrand?
I loved every bit of it. The pinstripes are back in full force. They're not just like part of like a special jersey. They're here to stay, which like I've always loved pinstripes on basketball jerseys, but to see it back on to like the Magic, they've had the history of using pinstripes. That's nice. The logo itself, is just a lot more. It just pops out more. I think it just feels more like a basketball team more than like it felt very corporation before. Um, the white blue jersey. There's the black jersey. At first, when I looked at the black jersey, I wish it was just one solid black, when not the blue at the top. But then I seen it was based off like their warm ups back when Shaq was on the team, and it's kind of won me over. I think.
Not gonna lie, I still hate those blue black jerseys, but I think overall they did a good job with the logo and the jerseys. Some people are trying to say like that the new Magic logo looks like the Raptors logo, and it's like I can kind of see it, but at the same time, I think they just kind of made it smaller, I guess. Just kind of like shortened it, simplified it, whatever you want to call it. But it looks good. It looks good. I'm glad. I'm surprised they announced it this early though. Like not until after the finals was done. But we'll see who the next team to rebrand is.
Yeah. No, I'm also a big fan of the rebrand. I like the logo a lot. I also I am a fan of all the jerseys. I do like the blue one the most, but that's because it's just the most classic looking one, and it's like has that touch of simplicity without going too far, like the Jazz. So I do like it a lot. I'm not a hater of the black one. I like the black one too. It would have been fire if they like revealed the jerseys, like announced the rebrand and then revealed the jerseys at the draft. That would have been kind of dope. But I don't know. I'm a big fan, and it's kind of fitting because they're looking like they could be a solidified playoff team now instead of poverty like they have been. So, go ahead and bust out the new jerseys for this new era.
Yeah, that is a good point to make.
There was I've seen complaints that it's another round logo, bro. It's basketball. How are we complaining about round logos in the league? Like half of the team have like a round logo. So what? It looks so much better than the last iteration. So
Yeah.
I think W rebrand all around. I think.
Yeah, and not only that, but like that's just a thing now. Like every team has to have like a logo like that now. You just don't know that. Like a lot of people just never actually paid attention. Like but their main logo is that basketball with the stars. Like that's their logo. But I don't know. I also like the secondary with the shooting star. That one's also pretty fire. All right. Moving on. We are one game into the playoffs, so we do have some Eastern Conference and Western Conference talk to do. Let's go ahead and start with. Why don't we start with the East? Because I feel like a lot of controversial things came out of East as far as like how it ended. With also who won the MVP as well was pretty big deal. So, did you guys watch any of that Knicks Pacers series at all? And what do you think of the series?
Yeah, I did watch about a little more than half the games. I think I missed two, but overall, very entertaining. Uh, just this offense of the Pacers is ridiculous. Like the fact that Siakam, I think, has been moving differently than ever before. Like, I don't know who he was training with. I don't know what he did in the offseason. It was kind of like a Aaron Gordon type deal where he just looks like a different player.
Mm-hmm.
He's got moves in his bag I haven't been seeing. He's been hitting middies like crazy, turnaround middies. And then of course Tyrese Halliburton is got to be one of the best true point guards we got playing today. I don't know how he sees the way he does on the court, but he finds the right guy. And I was saying, I think last episode, Andrew Nemhard, playoff riser. I don't know why it comes down to playoffs, and he's just, I think among the league, he's kind of a random player to consider like threat in the playoffs, but he is, and he's been consistent. And that one Aaron Nesmith game, bro, where he was looking better than Steph Curry out there. Those threes he was draining was insane. He had no right doing that. But yeah, as far as the Pacers go, incredible. And as far as the Knicks go, it just felt like they were the Celtics of this series. Like they were doing sloppy, dumb shit, and it kind of just they killed themselves in certain games. So I know how it feels, but like this was very winnable for them, and it just didn't click, didn't happen. And that's going to happen if like your two star players can't play together in harmony. Because really, it's like once Jalen Brunson's off the floor, Karl-Anthony Towns starts being good. Cat's off the floor, Jalen Brunson is on. Jalen Brunson's better, you know. But when they're on court together, it's like they're getting in the way, and it's really frustrating. Like I think a better coach would have smoothed things over, but it just wasn't meant to be, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much touched on everything. Like, really, the Knicks just like couldn't play defense. I don't know if that was because they were tired or the scheme or whatever, but towards clutch time, they just could not. They could score, but they couldn't defend, which defense wins championships. So it's like you can't really do that and get away with that, especially this deep into the playoffs. And as we've seen, kind of foreshadowing with game one, but you can still turn the ball over double-digit times, X amount of times, but it really comes down to that last shot. And that last shot, they got hit with one, and after that, I think it kind of demoralized the Knicks for that series. But yeah, like I said, the Knicks are just a big question mark right now. Like they have been probably for the entire season, before the Cat trade, after the Cat trade, entering the playoffs, and now after Tibbs gets fired. So we'll see if they make it this far next year. I doubt it, but we're all Knicks haters, so
yeah. I think everyone on this podcast is a Knicks hater, and even when Tyler was on there, he was a Knicks hater too. So the roots go deep. Yeah, bro. I do agree with Vaughn that it was like the Celtics 2.0 because like they just weren't changing their game plan, and Tibbs went right back into not playing any of his bench guys. Jalen Brunson was not like being a playmaker that like helped them succeed in the first place. He was just kind of hero balling it, and it just like it kind of just crumbled on him. Like when you get to the Eastern Conference Finals and you can't adapt, bro, and you just go back to bad habits, like, bro, they kind of stood no chance. And I know they got 2 games, but like, I don't know. I feel like after game 1 and 2, I kind of saw it coming. I was like, oh, the Knicks aren't winning the series. But the Pacers, they're just an all-around offensive team, bro. They're like pure offense, and it's fast-paced offense too. And I think that's why Siakam, like, I think he did deserve that Eastern Conference Finals MVP because, like, bro, he was one of the few defensive guys, but also he was just also is unstoppable on the offensive end as well. And like Halliburton was really good this series, but he was more of like the facilitator, and Siakam was really just like the dagger. And he's been like that this entire playoffs run, bro. Like even against the Bucks, he averaged like 26 points with Giannis on him, bro. Like that's hard to do. So I don't know. I just feel like the Pacers offensive wise, they're scary, bro. And you gotta lock in on defense against the Pacers.
Yeah. And like kind of going back to Siakam too, or like a reason why he won MVP. Halliburton had a couple like shitty games, like really bad games. And I think those are the games they lost, but still, I feel like if he had to turn those games around somehow, he might have got away with the MVP. But yeah, no, Siakam was, I mean, he's been hooping this whole playoff run, this entire playoff run.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to Western Conference Finals. Thunder won 4-1. Really disappointing end to the Western Conference side of things. How'd y'all feel about this series? Did you watch any of those games? I know me and Vaughn touched a little bit, but what about you, Eugene? What did you think of the series?
I wasn't surprised, bro. I think I watched more Knicks Pacers than the Western Conference Finals, but like, bro, the Thunder are just too good. Like, and it visibly showed, like, aggressive on offense, not necessarily fast paced, or yeah, I meant aggressive on defense. Sorry, aggressive on defense. Not necessarily fast pace on offense, but you know, all of their players play off of each other so well, both defensively and offensively. So it's like, you know, when everything's clicking, you're just in flow mode at that point, and then you know, it's like you're just on autopilot, and that's what it really seemed like for the Thunder that literal entire series.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating because it felt like they lived and died by Anthony Edwards, and he just could not figure something out to at least like make an impact. Like he doesn't have to score 40 every game, but it felt like he was just such a non-factor for such large portions of the game. Like there's no way you were gonna win, especially against the Thunder. But it's also so jarring. Like the one win they had, they like murdered the Thunder. That's the NBA for you. But like there's clearly a way to beat them, and they just, you know, they couldn't put two and two together, I guess. As for like the rest of the guys, also a little disappointing. Like Dante DiVincenzo, the whole playoffs was like he's not the same player from last year for whatever reason. You know, Rudy Gobert's always going to have his struggles, but like it just seems so apparent, especially the series. And then Mike Conley looks old out there, so I don't think you can even run it back with the same exact team. Like there's going to be some sort of alteration if they want to actually truly have a shot at the finals. Because like I think you've just exhausted what you can do here. You're going to have to see the Thunder again next year, and you can't run it back with the same squad. So,
yeah,
I will say, Julius Randle has or was hooping for a good amount of the playoffs too. So they could try and keep him, trade away some of the veterans or, you know, some of the key guys, role players, whatever. Try and get some more. Hopefully trade Rudy. But I would like to see the Timberwolves go somewhere. But also at the same time, like I guess like you said, Vaughn, like they just gotta do something. They gotta make a change somehow.
Yeah.
I do know change is coming because they just can't afford to re-sign both Naz Reid and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They might even lose both, for all I know. But that means losing like one of the best bench scorers or one of their best wing defenders. So we might just see them be worse next season for all we know.
Yeah. I think the part that killed them the most, bro, and they never dropped this throughout the series, and we mentioned this in the last episode, how they need to let it go, was how vocal they were about the foul calls, bro, and how much they let it get to them. And I thought after that game 3 win, was it game 3? I think it was. After that big win they had, I was like, okay, they're gonna let it go. You know, they're over it. They're not gonna let it affect them. But then, like games 4 and 5, they went right back to like letting the foul calls bug them, and like you can't let that happen, bro. That's like the mind games a part of the finals, like the mind games in the playoffs is so crucial. That's how Chris Paul was able to lead the Thunder in that playoff series, is he was such a menace like on the court. And so like I just feel like they just didn't look like they've been through this before. You know? Like that didn't look like the Minnesota Timberwolves teams who've like been to the Western Conference Finals already, beaten the Nuggets. Like it just looked like they were just hot-headed and not mature, which is crazy because they were the more veteran team. The Thunder was the ones who should have been how the Timberwolves were acting. You know, if anyone should have shown immaturity and like shown how green they really were, it should have been the Thunder, but it was actually the Timberwolves, and they just kind of let the strategy side of the game. They just couldn't keep up with it.
They had so many like defensive tools on their team they could have thrown at the Thunder, more so than the Nuggets. But like they just got embarrassed a lot, way too much. And just like it's the mental thing. It has to be because like the physicality was all there. We just didn't see it.
All right, which means the Thunder and the Pacers went to the finals. The Paul George finals actually happened. Before we get into game 1, really, trying to be unbiased here as possible. Who do you have winning? If you try to ignore game 1, or if game 1 didn't change your opinion, that's fine too.
I still got Thunder in 6.
Yeah, I think the whole world is believing in the Thunder at this point. Especially last series didn't help because you just saw them at their best for most of that thing, and they destroyed. And the Pacers, as offensively gifted as they are, OKC has so many good defenders to interrupt that offense, and it's just like the expectation is, if they shut down even one guy, like Pascal's not hitting his shots, Tyrese, turning over the ball, it's like over for that offense. It's just you can't get nothing going because like it's so crazy that people are calling this like a boring finals because we're really having offensive juggernaut versus a defensive beast. And neither of them are like slacking on other sides of the ball either. So it's just like this is a perfect setup. But even with that said, just like all year long, the Thunder have been dominating. So that's probably just like why everyone has been putting their chips in the Thunder basket, me included. If I'm to put it in a set amount of games, I'd say Thunder in 6. But I'm really hoping to be wrong here. I think Pacers pull this off. It's going on like one of the greatest runs ever.
Oh, for sure. For sure. A 6 seed, right? Winning the NBA Finals. Like, that's obviously no one's going to remember the seed, but, the teams that they had to beat to get here and the team they beat in the finals, one of the best teams in the league, that would be a story. That would be a story, probably a documentary someday. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. Now, sure, Tyrese hit the game winner. Okay, whatever. I don't want to say it's expected. Nobody expects a game winner, but with the game-winning run he's been on, it was kind of like, okay, like he's not afraid of the clutch moment.
Yeah.
So that is impressive to see. The Thunder did lead essentially the entire game. And it's not always going to come down to that clutch last shot moment. So that's where I think, the Thunder will go back. They'll look. They'll be like, how do we blow this lead? Let's not do it again. and then they'll capitalize from there, and then it'll be probably a series that we expected to see since game one. But yeah, no, statistically speaking, like the Thunder have the best defense in the league. The Pacers have one of the best offenses in the league. This is a Hooper's dream finals.
Normally, I would agree with you, Eugene, that it wouldn't always come down to that one final clutch moment. But like, this is literally how the Pacers made it to the finals. Like, they've had this clutch final moment twice in every single series so far, and it's kind of insane, bro. Like how much they pulled off that exact moment this entire playoff run.
Okay, but think about it. They have 2 in each series. They get away with another one. That's still Thunder in 6. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like it can
Yeah.
only happen so often, and it's not gonna happen every game.
Yeah. Luck eventually, hopefully, will run out. I also got Thunder in 6. I always had Thunder in 6 just because I feel like the Pacers, their offense is good enough to steal a couple games. They were only in the lead for 0.3 seconds, bro. Like, that's insane. That shot was their first lead they had all game, and it won them the game. I just think the Thunder, this keeps happening to them, bro. They have, before this game, 4 losses, and all of them have been just them, like, not closing out in, like, the fourth quarter. And it seems like they're, like, for a good team, it seems like they're not a fourth quarter team. In the first game of game 1 of the Nuggets, they fouled way too early, and the Nuggets came back and won. They gave up an Aaron Gordon game
winner,
yeah. And like, because they just weren't playing defense as well. And now again, they let Halliburton just, shoot a mid-range jumper. Like, there was really no one around him when he made that shot. So I feel like they need to, like, start respecting the teams they're going against and really just lock in the fourth quarter, because it seems like that's been their problem, is that they let their foot off the gas. And, like, I know it's not realistic for them to blow out every single game, but, like, they have done it in every series where they've had, like, an insane stat line where they blew out a team. And all those games is because they kept up the pressure. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the Thunder haven't learned their lesson for how often it's happened to them.
Yeah, that's kind of like pulled off the sheen of like what this team used to look like, an invincible team. But like the Nuggets almost pulled it off. The Pacers are just unwilling to get rolled over like that. So it's just, if you're gonna beat the Thunder in the finals, it would be this year. Because in the future they're just gonna get better. Like Chet in the first game didn't look like Chet we've seen all playoff. Like, I know he's been up and down in certain games, but he was just straight up bad game 1. Now, is that going to happen game 2? Did they just fully exploit Chet the whole series long? I doubt that can happen.
Yeah.
I don't think this is even like a Josh Giddey situation. I think he's just got to, find his rhythm and then it'll click. Or maybe he can produce in different ways. I don't know. But just like, Rick Carlisle is going to have to pull out some trickery if they're going to win 3 more times.
Yeah.
Which I really want to see. I want to see something. I think he can still at least win 1, maybe 2. But bro, 4 games against this team. It's tough, but it's doable, I hope this is a classic series we got on our hands, because it really could shape out that way, or we might see Thunder steamroll the next 4 games. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually talking to my mom about this too. I was like, the Thunder had like loads of time to rest, like 2 weeks or something like that. So I'm like, I was telling her, I was like, if the Pacers win game 1, the Thunder should be scared a little bit. Now, the Pacers had 19 turnovers in the first half alone. So that went to show, like, the Thunder they're here. They're, a defensive monster, like the rest showed. But then when it came to the clutch time, it was like, all right, Pacers are here, you know, like they're not messing around. So it's like now that the Pacers won game one, even in the narrowest, most slightest of margins, I think it doesn't necessarily scare the Thunder, but it gives them something to think about. Like, okay, we had all this time to rest, but you know, we gotta perform in clutch time. So I really still think Thunder in 6, but it could go 7.
Yeah. 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 I do believe in the Thunder to pull it off. But you know, this is the kind of game lost. Like this is the kind of loss that could like you could look back upon and be like, this is why they lost the series. And so like I'm not saying they will, but if the Pacers win, I think it is because of that game one win.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I think the game 2 is tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Did they go? But yeah. So that's pretty much all we can say about the series. With only one game in, I do want to just talk about the vibes around this finals and just the players in general, because a lot of controversy and just like typical NBA fan complaining. First up, a lot of people were not happy about Thunder's Pacers, and that they're saying like this is the worst finals we've gotten in forever, blah blah blah. How do y'all feel about that take about how this is not a good finals matchup and that it's going to be boring and all this stuff?
Totally opposite because like, oh, boohoo, two small market teams. Like, how is that a problem? Like you're highlighting these teams that normally don't get this shine on the biggest stage of the NBA. This is good for them, you know? Yeah, so what? You don't have like the Knicks large market. You have the NBA market. They should be invested in this if they like hoops, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like the complaints feel very hollow in the end. Like I really haven't been paying much attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, like it's a real Hooper's dream of like these two small market, super young, team superstars going against each other. And personally, I mean, we've all been fans of the Thunder for, a really long time. The Pacers were my spin the wheel team, like, was it last season, 2 seasons ago? So kind of like as like a secondary fan, it's kind of cool to see the Pacers, but even just like historically, like when they had Paul George, like they were so close, they just couldn't get over LeBron. And then they got rid of PG. They blew up that whole team, terrible. But then, started working their way up through the draft, through trade and such and such. And now they're here at the literal pinnacle of the NBA right now. So it has been good to see both teams just kind of like through history and just growing up, like see where they have come from and see how far they've come to get to this point.
Yeah, I mean, but for both teams too, like this is not only either way, we'll have a first ever champion, bro. Like the Pacers haven't had a trophy since the ABA.
Like they don't have a Larry O'Brien, bro.
Yeah. And the Thunder, they've been close so many times, whether it was like, the KD, Russ, and Harden days, or when it was, they blew the 3-1 lead that made KD leave in the first place. These are teams who've always been so close and just never got there. And now, one of them are finally reaching the pinnacle they've been chasing their entire franchises, bro. Like, I kind of hate the excuse that they're small market, and that's why, like, no one's excited because, like, they're like historic teams still, bro. Like these are teams who've had like not only like legendary players, but have also like created iconic moments. Like the Pacers have been around since like the beginning of basketball, bro. Like they are literally like what basketball, they've seen all of it. the OKC, they have now 3 MVPs to their name and like have yet to win the trophy, and they have such a loyal and dedicated fan base. So it's just like, I don't know, as an NBA fan, how could you not be excited to see one of these teams win? Like, I understand if it was like the Charlotte Hornets, but we're talking about like iconic teams, bro. Like teams who are only small market in terms of like fan base and money wise, but they're like iconic teams.
Yeah.
Right, and they've built these teams from the ground up. You
Mhm.
know, like OKC drafted most of their guys. Shea might as well have been drafted there. He was only not there for the rookie year. No one really thought he was going to be at this level.
Mhm.
Um, and we've been saying, oh, they'll be a good team real soon and real scary, and here they are, very scary.
Yeah.
And they've only added on to their young core to support them with Alex Caruso, Hartenstein. And then with the Pacers, similar deal. Miles Turner's been there for ages, been in trade rumors for ages, and he's finally seeing some form of
Yeah.
success. And then, obviously they get Halliburton for Sabonis, and I don't think the Kings realize what they lost. Even with a guy like Neesmith, like he was a throw-in in that trade for Malcolm Brogdon. It's just like they've maximized their success here, and I'm glad to see it's paying off.
Yeah. All right. I have a few more talking points. The second one, for us to rant about, the NBA has finally revealed why they got rid of the decals. The infamous trophy in the middle of the floor. Just some iconic playoff pictures came from those decals included in them. And they finally revealed the reason why they got rid of them was for player safety. They said it was unsafe for the players to play on those courts. How do y'all feel about this decision? Um, does it make you feel better about why they took it away at all, or did it only make you angrier?
Bro, what does that even mean? Like, was it more slippery or something?
I
Like,
guess, yeah, it was like easier to lose traction.
what?
But like
I
you
don't know.
have
I mean,
like
I
the
was gonna
in-season
say, I
tournament
feel like,
courts.
well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's literally true. So I'm like, they could figure out a way to like make it out of like a different material or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
most of the core decals are like just shown on TV, like just show it on TV. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. That seems like a BS answer to me, but
Like, yeah, like think about even the jerseys. They don't even have the patch no more, the finals patch. It's like what separates this broadcast from, a regular season game? Basically nothing. Like
Mhm,
you go to commercial, maybe there's like a finals graphic, but who cares about that?
mhm.
Like we want this to feel like the big event that it is, and you kind of just let us down like that. Like you get this once a year and you don't capitalize on it. What are we doing here?
Mhm.
Like the way they be milking Nike jerseys, you would think at least they'd like, oh, have a finals edition jersey. No, nothing. It's just a game out there.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that too while watching game one. I'm like, bro, this like obviously it feels like the finals because it is, but like it looks like a regular season game. You know what I mean? Like regular court, regular jerseys. Like they're not even throwing in like their alternate jerseys or nothing. Um, no patch like you said, no decals on the court. It's really just in the advertising for the games themselves, where it's like, oh, the NBA finals, and then obviously like they use the same commentators and stuff, but like if you didn't know any better, like someone completely does not watch basketball at all, you throw on the finals, they're just gonna think it's a regular game, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like th- they gotta do something at least to make it feel more like the NBA finals. Because obviously everybody knows the Super Bowl is happening, but not everybody knows the NBA finals is happening. So it's
Mhm.
like, and especially they're not directly competing with the NFL, but kind of indirectly, like you got to look at them and be like, how can we be like them? At least in my opinion, that's what will go through my head.
It's just like all these efforts to like add new things, change up the All-Star game, add an in-season tournament, like when you could just put a new coat of paint on things like this, it feels like you're leaving viewers out, you're leaving money on the table. It's just like it could all be better, and we're not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The reason why is so it is so ridiculous because that, like Vaughn said, the in-season tournament courts, like they dyed the floor. Like you could just do something different. Like
It's not that hard. Y'all got the
Yeah.
money, bro.
yeah, exactly. I just feel like in the age of social media, and like not only that, but like a lot of iconic finals moments, like include, you know, the decals and like the patches. You know, when you see an iconic finals picture, you see all that, like the playoff shirts and all that stuff. You know, and so I feel like it adds just to the moment. And so I feel like just not doing anything at all, it just makes you kind of realize, like, okay, we could be capitalizing even more on this like generation of like phones everywhere, but instead, you know, they're just not doing anything at all. And yeah, I just feel like they could do something, anything, even like virtual ones would be better than nothing, you know. But I guess I don't know if they just don't want to take the risk or they don't want to spend the money, but it's one of those things for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then also, I forgot my final talking point, so I'm just going to move on to what I was going to discuss. Who do you think will be the finals MVP for either team? If either team wins, who do you think will be the difference maker? Who do you think will get that finals MVP? Will Shea be the first player in history to get 3 MVPs in one season, or do you think Halliburton can walk away? Let me know your guys' thoughts.
I mean, like I said kind of earlier about the Eastern Conference Finals, like Halliburton just has to play good, you know? If, you know, he gets shut down even one game, he's probably not walking away with it because Pascal Siakam is his teammate. I do think obviously you can shut down Pascal Siakam, but that's not an easy feat. You know, he's got so many different moves in his bag. He's gonna get his buckets. He's probably at least gonna get 20 every game.
Yeah.
So it's really just like whoever gets limited the most on the Pacers, I feel like. For the Thunder, I feel like it would be SGA, but I also think this guy right here could also walk away with it on some like super slick shit, but I feel like it would be SGA.
Yeah, like on the Thunder, I don't feel like anyone else could take that from him unless SGA is just like a shitter in 3 games from now or whatever. But like even on the Pacers side, I think Halliburton has showed up in too many big and what will be iconic moments for him not to get it. Because if they win it, I'm imagining Halliburton is not bad for the rest of the series, or at least not in their wins.
Mm.
So if Siakam does take it, I would be surprised unless he's on Giannis type shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I imagine it's like the two guards are gonna take it.
Yeah, I honestly truly believe that SGA, if they win, he's gonna get it, bro. And I think that's just gonna be historic, bro. Because one, it's been years since an MVP won a Finals MVP in the same season. But not only that, but we could have the first ever like Western Conference MVP, MVP, and Finals MVP, 3 MVPs in one season, and SGA could be the first person to do that, which is crazy to think about. That like that's a stat line that like who knows when it will ever happen again, bro.
I was about to say, I'm like, that might be one of those like records like we might not ever see again. Now,
Yeah.
obviously we would, but like we gonna be like 80, 90 type. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
bro. Like it's just like one of those historic moments that like it could possibly never happen again. And like if it does, you know, it's gonna be one of those things where it's like, oh, this was another generational season that like for it to happen once is crazy, but for it, if it will happen twice, like don't want to imagine the type of player that's gonna get it twice, bro. And for the Pacers side of things, I kind of agree that like it just really depends if Halliburton has like a streaky moment, because it seems like Siakam, he's been consistent all runs. Like even in their losses, he was still a standout player. I just feel like it's gonna be one of those three. I don't feel like anyone else has a chance. I'm not gonna lie. I just feel like Jalen Williams, he could do it, but like it would have to be some Jaylen Brown type efficiency, where he just went crazy. And then like anyone else on the Pacers, I feel like one of the best points about the Pacers is that they all know their role, and so I feel like none of the other guys will really have the opportunity to get the Finals MVP because they all play their role so well. Miles Turner getting a Finals MVP though, that would be crazy.
That would be storybook, bro. I would retire if I was him, bro. If I won Finals MVP.
Going from trade rumors every single year of your career to Finals MVP would be crazy.
Bro, I'd say peace out, Indiana. I'm out. I'm done. I've done everything I could do.
Yeah.
That would be fire though.
All right. And then one last thing, I remembered my final talking point. Adam Silver went on to did an interview. I think he was on SportsCenter or something like that. It was some ESPN talk show. And a lot of people are saying the reason why so many people are upset about the small market teams is that the NBA didn't do enough to cover these teams and make casual fans care about these teams. Do you think that the marketing had anything to do with the, hate of this finals matchup?
Bro, they don't market unless they're good. They don't market small market teams anyway because nobody watches them. So it's like, because like every team has a X amount of games televised. So it's like now the Thunder probably had more than the Pacers only because the Thunder, have been better in past seasons, prior seasons. Mm-hmm. But like, bro, if it was like the Hornets and I don't know, the Jazz in the finals, I don't know. The argument seems just dumb to me because it's like they already don't market them, but it's like, bro, I don't know, bro. It just seems dumb, bro. Like I can't even formulate a cohesive thought.
Like from the NBA perspective, like what is the solution for that? Like other than give them more televised games, like they could afford it, even at least a few. But other than that, what are you gonna do? Hold a gun to ESPN's head and say, "Talk about these teams more." Like they're shooting for their ratings. You can't force them to do that. If they could come up with a way to highlight them more, that would be nice. But I'm not like beholden to the NBA for it.
I think it's just the teams got to get good. They got to get better. You know what I mean? Play better. You recruit well, play better, win more, and naturally it will start. Like we could see a whole flip. Like the bad teams get good, the good teams get bad. Probably not will ever happen, but we've seen it with franchises. We've seen the Sixers be really, really good and really, really bad. We've seen the Thunder be really, really good and really, really bad.
Yeah.
We've always seen the Wizards be bad. We've always seen the Hornets be bad. We've seen the Jazz be pretty decent and really bad. But you know what I mean? Like, we've seen the Lakers be really, really good and really, really bad. You know what I mean? So it's like they just market – the small market teams just got to market themselves by putting the time and effort and all those things to try and win more.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do to change it, bro. Like, there's really nothing you can do to make ESPN talk about Indiana during, like, December, where, like, NBA is all like, kind of struggles to get the views they need. So like ESPN talking about Indiana is not going to bring them money. So they're not going to talk about Indiana. They're going to talk about the Lakers and, and that's the thing. I think Eugene had a really good point is that the marketing is being good. Like the Lakers are always going to be talked about no matter how bad they are because they are a big market. It's LA. That's just how it goes. But you can combat that by being, like we've seen before, like a polarizing team, like the Nets marketing themselves when, it was the D'Angelo Russell Nets. They are usually a smaller market team. The Knicks are like 10 times their size, but they were able to capture, a bigger fan base during that run just by marketing themselves. And like, you can't really sit there and expect ESPN to like, you can't force them to do that, bro. And the NBA, I feel like Vaughn's right. The only thing they can really do is televise more games, but it's already impossible to watch the NBA. So I feel like that's not going to help as much either. I think what just needs to happen is that, like, it's just the nature of sports, Big names will bring in views. When the Celtics were in the finals last year, the views poured in because it's been a while since a big market like Boston have been on that stage. When LA, won, the Dodgers, when they won the World Series, that was the first time anyone talked about baseball forever. It's just how it goes. Unfortunately, like I don't think the solution really is. There is none. You just gotta hope and pray that like these teams stay good, so that way their fan base does grow. Milwaukee, Milwaukee was a small market team until Giannis and them won a ring, bro. I think they still are a small market, but now they have a fan base, and now people do care if they make it to the finals. And I just think that's what these teams have to do to be good.
Yeah, there's nothing you can change. You just gotta hope and pray you get good, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's also this sucks too because like I think it was the lowest viewed game one in a long time since like 2020. I'm pretty sure I saw that. So it does kind of suck that the NBA's pockets are gonna hurt during this finals. But like I don't know if Adam Silver cares about the game as much as he says he does. I don't think any team will really change,
Yeah. But I also think that goes to show like people obviously do know about the finals and like they're marketing the finals or whatever, but they could be doing better. They could be doing more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of what we were going to talk about, just simple as like changing the court or the jerseys or both,
Yeah. Or even advertising, bro. Like, commercials go a long way.
Mm-hmm. Instead of recycling the same ones we've seen for months.
Yeah, exactly. Building up the narrative yourself, having broadcasters hit talking points. That's one way you can do it, but I don't know. I feel like it's just unfortunate, but it's just the nature of sports. All right. That's all I have for today, really. I don't really have any other talking points. Do you guys have anything you want to bring up before we close the episode?
Low key, we haven't talked about our bean cards in a while, unless y'all did.
We did, but you give us an update, Eugene. Because I feel like we haven't heard from you.
I think mine was busted just completely. Let me see. I
did say if you got Bing, it would be the most impressive Bing here because you went hella.
Yours were wild.
Okay, let's see. Lakers game-winning buzzer beater did not happen. 3 4-0 sweeps did not happen. We had 2.
Let's see. I know for sure we had 1.
And then
1, 2. Yeah, just 2.
Just
close
2?
though.
So
close.
Didn't get that.
We didn't see 4 1s.
A lot of 4 1s. Okay, that makes sense. We didn't see a coach get ejected, did we?
No,
No.
And we didn't have a Jalen Brunson game winner, did we?
we did. I thought.
Did we?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. I think it was one of either the Celtics game or I think it was one of the Celtics game or the Pacers game. But he hit like a dagger. I don't know if it counts as a game winner because there was time left on the clock. But like,
I just said game winner. I didn't say buzzer beater.
I think it did give him the lead, and then I think Mikal Bridges stole the ball, so that was basically the last shot made. We could count that, to be honest.
All right.
I'm pretty sure there was even a closer one though. But yeah, just counting because I'm pretty sure it counts.
Referee slander, saw that.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley did jinx a team. I just don't remember. He guaranteed somebody win. I just don't remember the team he said that for. But I think it was one of the first 2 rounds. Jason Tatum gets 40 points and a win. Did that happen, Vaughn? If you remember.
No, I think not only did he get 38, they did lose.
Damn, double dagger.
Crazy. All right, so didn't get that. A 5 seed beats a 4 seed. I don't think I got that either. That would have been first round.
Yeah, and unfortunately,
The Clippers lost.
the Bucks and the Clippers lost.
Yeah, that's crazy. Post game scuffle. I'm counting that Rockets one.
Yeah,
Okay, I put SGA has 20 plus free throw attempts. Now we would have to go through every game to see if he did, but all of the games so far that I have checked, I haven't checked past round 2. He was close, but he never hit 20.
I would honestly check the Timberwolves games if he did. If he
Yeah, I'm
would have, it
checking
probably
now.
been there.
Okay, all right, bet.
so
We didn't have a Luka 40-10-10 game. I don't think I saw this, if this was a thing. Peyton Pritchard making a half court prayer. Did that ever happen?
Not this time.
no.
Definitely did not see MVP Jaylen Brown. Jokic had a record-breaking game of some sort, correct?
Yeah, I just don't remember what the stat line was, but I'm pretty sure I
It
saw
was some
something.
weird stat line. And then I still have one. On the board. Finals MVP will average a double-double. So we got to wait until after the finals. But I can't get Bing. Either
It's
way.
impossible for you to get Bean.
Yeah, I cannot get Bing.
Damn. Rip.
Did y'all get it or not?
I got it. I got it on both of mine, on the Spin the Rock one and the personal one. The Spin the Rock one was set up.
Round 2. Giannis averaged 30 in a series. Miles Turner 5 blocks in the game. He did that. Game 2 against the Cavs. Team scores under 90 points. That was basically day 1.
Right.
And then Spin the Rock free space.
Yeah, bro. Mine weren't even like terrible though, bro.
Damn, bro.
That's crazy.
So
In a different, you could do this exact list and you might hit Bing next year.
So I
crazy.
checked just now every single Timberwolves game, and SGA did not hit 20 at all.
Damn, so he probably didn't hit 20, period.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
he was close a couple of times, but never got to 20. There was a lot of 15s and 14s. You know what's even crazier? There was 2 games where he had only 4
free throws?
Yeah.
Like attempts.
Yep.
That's crazy.
So free
The
throw
free throw merchant did not show up, bro. That's
free
crazy.
throw merchant, not at all. Yeah, I kind of forgot. Let's see how I got my Being. I'll go over it one more time. Because I think I got 2 on the Spin the Rock one. I think the Spin the Rock one got 2. Okay, so I got 1 diagonal one. LeBron has a great game at 40. Angel too hype about Warriors losing. Cavs are actually a second round exit. And then someone complains about Ben Simmons playing time. So I was just Spin the Rock one.
Mm.
And then, of course, I got 2 on that one because of my free space, and then Jokic plays too long in a close game. My personal one, I got my free space, gentleman sweep on both sides of the second round. Random bench player wins a game, and that was when Luke Cornett literally willed the Celtics to a win. And he had a record-breaking stat line as well. And then Superstar has an atrocious game. I just don't remember who I said it was, but it was somebody. I just don't remember.
Was it like a LeBron game or like an
don't
Ant
know.
game?
It was. I think it was an Ant game, but I'm not too sure. I don't remember, to be honest, and I want to. I might take it off because I don't remember, but that's too much work. All right. Yeah. So far, we still have a lot of the finals left, but it's looking like it's gonna be fun. I was wrong. Game 2 is tomorrow, so I think it's like every 3 days, bro. Because then game 3 is on until Wednesday.
Okay.
So every 3 days. So by the time we're back, I don't think the finals will still be over next week. I think we'll be in like game 4s. So we might have to have a topic next week. So be on the lookout for that. Any closing thoughts at all?
Final should be a good one.
Yes, watch this series. If you're a casual and you're not watching because you think, oh, it's going to be boring, no, watch this series, bro. It's going to be really fun. It's basically amazing offense versus amazing defense. Like,
The battle of who wins.
yeah. So check it out.
Especially for those people complaining about like, oh, teams are shooting too many threes. These are the teams that like you should be watching.
Yeah, not 3 center teams at all. I mean, Halliburton literally won with a mid-range jumper, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
Like, even as good as Shea is, cannot shoot threes. Not like that, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, this is literally what we could be watching the future, bro. Like, this could be the future of the league.
Little foreshadow.
Yeah, so like definitely tune in. Next week, yep, more finals talk. Hopefully a topic. We'll see. But if you're listening on Spotify or any podcast platform, make sure you give us that good old 5 stars, leave a review. We're also on YouTube for that good old video format. Let us know who you think will win and how many games. And we're also on all speed platforms at Spin the Rock. So make sure you follow us. Check us out there for clips, all that good stuff. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again next week.